different capacities, I guess. 20 years ago, I bought my first house. It was a little tiny house, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and I completely gutted the place. Lived in it while I was doing it. Moved in. It didn't have any heat, hot water, nothing. It was a really terrible situation when your lease is up on your apartment and you move into this house, and you got to fix it up really fast. So I did that, lived there for a couple of years, rented out some bedrooms to some buddies that are at the time, fresh out of college, and started buying rental properties while I was working my W-2, mostly duplexes, a couple of triplexes. And
what did you do for your W-2, if you don't mind? What did you do by day?
Yeah, so I went to college for HVAC, plumbing, and electric. So I was working full-time doing that, fixing other people's problems. And during that time, I met a lot of landlords, taking care of their properties for them. So one thing snowballed into another, and I ended up starting a management company and reached back out to all these landlords and offered my services to them, and ended up building up a property management company with a partner of mine. And then about 4 or 5 years later, ended up selling out to him and got out of the management side of things. And then when I left New York, I sold my rental properties, and then that's when I got into notes in 2020. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier dealing with the paperwork than dealing with the tenants. So for me, that was a big switch. I was kind of burnt out at that time. So dealing now on the phone, talking with the attorneys and realtors and servicers and all the people that help you run your portfolio, it's a lot easier process than trying to go collect $500 from your tenant that doesn't want to pay you. That's why I transitioned into notes. So I took that capital that I made selling all my properties and built a portfolio. Working with Jasmine, went through her training program, and she kind of showed me the ropes. And that was, I guess, 5 years ago now. And so just been building my portfolio and growing that as fast as I can. And it comes to a point, where you run out of money. So for me, that was the biggest, eye-opening thing for me. It was like, all right, I've got my portfolio, but I've got no more money, but I've got all this cash flow coming in now every month. So how do I capitalize on this, and how do I continue to grow and get to the point where you want to get to without any more money?
So Josh, do you mind if I interject real quick? Could I really would love to hear the audience to hear a little bit about how you got to that point where you said you have cash flow and then you ran out of money. So what was the strategy? What type of, as much as you would share, like what type of cash flow were you able to achieve? And then what made you think, oh, I need to do more of this, not stop?
Yeah. So the first note I bought, it was note, you're performing and non-performing, right? So performing, obviously they're paying their rent every month. Non-performing, they're not paying their mortgage. So I bought, my first note was performing mortgage. I bought it for about 55 cents on the dollar, and that one pays me, I think I paid like $36,000 for it, and that one pays me $621 a month for the last 5 years. And I think it's got, actually we'll pull up that example, but it's got like, I don't know, 12 or 13 more years left on it to pay me that $621 every month. Bought a couple more performing notes, and then I bought one actually that was a non-performing note down just north of Austin, Texas. And I had it for, it was during COVID, and there was no evictions, nothing going on. So I held it for like 18 months. I think it took, by the time I started the process to the end. Long story short, I ended up getting the property back. Went in, did a little bit of work to the property, and then I sold it, owner financed, and created a new note on the property that now pays $1,800 a month for the next 25 years. Yeah. So the guy I sold it to, actually, the other day, I got a message from, or like a notification on Zillow that the property's on the market, actually. So he went in and did a bunch more work to it, built some tiny houses on the property. It's like 2 acres down in Texas. And so this guy's got it on the market for like $600,000 now. So I'm expecting a payoff on that one, hopefully in the next couple months.
So you do know this is going to get you invited to the podcast, because this is the make money and go to heaven story that I always talk about, right? You got to understand, this is Josh. He could have been greedy, right? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Josh is just like me. We're a bunch of happy pigs, okay? We're never moving over to the hog side, but we're going to play in our slot, because what he did just there is he made 3 different times off of that note, okay? I don't know if you heard that. And then left meat on the bone for the average person who may not be as sophisticated, who may not be accredited, who may be just getting to his first flip, right? Left meat on the bone for him. He could have done like every other note program does. They extracted all the profit out of that. What I tell you, he could have left it up there and waited for somebody who's going to pay max, right? But what we do here is we try to make sure that everybody can win. And so I just want to do a quick celebration to the win-win that he just talked to us about, because that is what is quintessential to being a member here, right? You want to make sure that you can do right, and that we feel good about giving these profits, because otherwise I would have kept it myself if I didn't think I can hand to him, and he's going to continue to say, what? I'm making money and going to heaven. So anyway, kudos. You just made me excited about that. We got to dig into that more on a separate podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a good one. That was non-performing to start with. Those don't come around every day. Obviously, that was a really unique situation, but they happen. So the performing notes is where I tend to focus. Those are the ones that are generating cash flow every month. So I don't have to worry about dealing with all the things that come along with a non-performing note. But so you body these performing notes and you build up this cash flow, and which is great. So you've got monthly income coming in, but at some point, you're going to run out of money to buy these performing notes. So for me, in order to buy more performing notes, I need to get more money. So that's where this hypothecation came in. So it's allowed me to grow my portfolio while working with private capital partners and also giving them a good return. So it's another win-win situation where basically I do all the work, they provide the capital, and I secure it by a note in my portfolio, and it allows me to go out and buy more notes. So how it works, hypothecation is it's one of those words that I never really liked. It's basically a fancy word for a loan, right? As a lender, if I'm the borrower in this situation, as a lender, one of you guys says, all right, hey, I've got, 50 grand that I want to get involved in notes or get involved in real estate or diversify to some extent. So I'll say, all right, we'll go into my portfolio and pick out a loan that will work for the amount of capital that you have available. And I'll pull up some situations here where we can walk through them and show you how that would work and what that looks like. Jasmine, do you have any questions before I get into these examples at all?
No, but let's ask the audience if anyone have any questions about his journey, or anything that he's discussed with us. Well, feel free to raise your hand and jump in. Doesn't look like I'm going to have the ability to get this recorded. I've been trying for a while, so. But yeah, feel free to ask questions as you go, and no, go ahead and share your screen and get the examples going.
Yeah. All right, you guys see that all right?
Yeah. Yes, I can see it.
So perfect. So this first one here is a property that I bought out in Oklahoma on Walker Road in Oklahoma. This highlighted part in green here, that's the property lines, I guess, I pull up on the GIS website. This is just a performing note. There's the land with 7.5 acres with a house on it. And the way this works, so when I buy these, I'll buy them most of the time. I buy them right from Jasmine through our community, and I put them into my portfolio. And that usually takes a month or two, sometimes up to 3 months for everything to transfer over and get set up with the servicers and all that. So I'll go ahead and do all that and get them into my portfolio, and then I'll make sure I collect the first payment or two, so everything is set up and that payment's coming in. And then I'll put together this kind of hypothecation prospectus or pro forma, whatever you want to call it, to give outlines to my investors, say, hey, this is what I've got, this is what's available for anybody that's interested, and then we'll go that route. So this would be the terms of this one here from the investor, someone like you guys or whoever. A lot of people I work with have money sitting in an IRA or an old 401k or cash to invest as well, whatever works better for them. But the investment amount on this one from the investor is $47,870, and I give everybody an 8% interest rate. So that's just across the board on no matter which investment it is. This one here would be for 118 months. So basically, the next 10 and a half years on
so
that.
Can I stop you for a second, because I'm sure many people might have this question or might be thinking it, right? And so I want you guys to really take advantage of this opportunity. So he just said that he offers 8% flat across the board. So I don't know if I missed this part, but about your business plan and your business model, like where did that come from? How do you come up with it? And are people open to that, right? Because a lot of people in this call might say, who would take an 8%? And so the question is, are you finding people like that, and where did that come up from as far as related to your business plan?
Yeah, so when I'm buying these, you look at these underlying assets, and the mortgage, the guy might be paying, let's just say it's a 10% interest rate, right? And most of the time I'm buying these at a discount from whoever's selling them. So most of the time, on a performing note right now, the market changes, but it's about 90% on the dollar is what you're paying for it. So the underlying loan may have a 9% interest rate. I may have gotten it at a discount, so I may be getting, let's just say it's 11% interest rate I'm getting 11% return on my money when I buy it. So when I offer it out to my investors, at an 8%, for them, solid return backed by the note on the real estate, and I get 3% spread there that I'll be able to make on my money as well. And
my question is, are you finding people that are open to this 8%? Like, and where are you finding, like, what's your strategy to find clients that will buy the 8%, right? Is that you're finding that people are okay with that, right? Or no?
Yeah, absolutely. 8% seems to be the sweet spot. Obviously everybody would always love more, but when I can offer them 8% and it's backed by the note on the real estate, and I show them the underlying collateral and their investment to value, it's not a problem. And a lot of these guys, honestly, I have friends and family and the golf course. I spend a lot of time golfing, and a lot of my investors are people that have already kind of made their money and looking to park it in a safe spot. Not necessarily someone looking, this isn't a get rich quick scheme, like you're not going to go out there and make 100% returns in 6 months. That's not this world.
And that's what I wanted you to just pay attention to, because that's what a lot of people will prevent themselves from taking advantage of this opportunity, because they think, well, I can't go on and offer 25%. Every time I'm listening, I hear people want to. That's the hog part. Okay. Remember, pigs are fed. So look at who you're surrounding yourself by. Are the people that want 25% every time? I can tell you right now, it's been my motto for 15 years. If I sit down with someone and I say, what type of return you want? And they say something in the 20s, 18s, I politely turn this into a social gathering, and then I shut down the business and I leave. But we don't do business, right? If I had those type of returns, why would I bring them to you? That's the next question, right? So my whole point, and what I want you guys to understand, is that there is a bunch of normal individuals out there who don't want to risk their world, and you'll find them on the golf course. You find them doctors who 8% is great, right? It's more than they're getting in their from their savings. Apple's doing 4%. So definitely know that don't be discouraged because you think no one's going to get an 8%. These are people who now are able to get 8% without having to do any work. So that's the other part. So Josh has been very successful with OPM. So I want you guys to see this, because people always ask me, how much do I need to get involved with notes? Well, outside of the education piece, Josh is just showing you that he's spending $0. So thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, good point, Jess. Yeah, so this, looking at this example here, you got the monthly payment, on a $47,000 loan, you're going to get $587. Your investment to value, this amount, 47,000 to the value of the property, is 27.35%. And as far as the collateral goes, this is the underlying mortgage itself. The property here, it's a performing loan, and this guy's been in the property since 2009. So obviously there's a little bit of history there. The unpaid balance is 48,041. So if you look at, your investment is 47,870. So it's a little bit under the UPB. And this one happens to have a 12.75% interest rate on the underlying asset. And there's 165 payments left. So yours $118 or 118 months is when you're going to get your money back completely. There's 165 months left on this loan. So if you look at that 165 minus the 118, there's 47 more payments there at the end of this term. So I'm going to pay you all your money back in 118 months. And then after that, there's 47 payments left on here that I'm also going to receive in, 10 years, 11 years, whatever it was. So that's where, for me, I can get my money back now and put it back in the market and buy some more notes to lend out to you guys for more opportunities. And then it allows me in 10, 15 years, for me, it's a good retirement account build up. So I know in 10 years, all right, I'm going to get 47 payments of $621 that, I'm not going to have any money left in this deal after this goes through. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So now you have an infinite returns, right? You have an infinite return. What's your return on this, Josh? A million, trillion, right?
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
No, I just say that the return at that point is insignificant. It's infinity.
Exactly. So, it's more than insignificant. It's infinity. So, but this is what I want to pause on, because I do not hear enough jaws dropping or grasping of the pearls of right now. Okay. You are on a meeting that's telling you how to get an infinite return. Okay. So when you leave here, you're going to go to people who are telling you, oh, we can give you this amount, that amount. Okay. So depending on how much you want to learn and what type of seat you want to take in this. Okay. And Josh is an example to show you how you can be the person in charge. You can still make money and go to heaven, deliver 8%, and then somehow get yourself infinite return. So why I want to harp on this is because when I talk to you guys about how and when your life will change, as Josh said, this is not get rich quick. But can you imagine if you start putting small little pockets of infinite returns, then what happens, you start seeing things change every 6 months or so. Nothing miraculous, but every 6 months, this has been my experience, and maybe Josh can speak to it, you start seeing significant financial growth, right? And so it takes time, but you have these little tiny accelerators in the back. And this is what I want to give you guys, because if you're out there investing on the normal way that they teach you, on Wall Street and school, you are missing those little accelerators. And then you're wondering why you're so frustrated and everyone is jumping in front of you. Josh, right now, when you see him next year, you're going to say, oh, wow, how did he get that far that fast? There's nothing fast about it, right? But it's these infinite returns that's boosting him. So they're like little rocket boosters. I want you to kind of pay attention to what he's doing, because, again, I'm not sure how many calls you're on a day that tell you how to get an infinite return legally. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so this one, this guy's, to give you some security, I guess, looking at this property, the guy's been in there for 14 years. He's got $181,000 in equity. This guy's not going to go anywhere, unless something drastically happens in his life, and at that point he needs to sell the house and you get paid off. That's even better. But this note is secured heavily by this guy's equity. And this was actually so this guy had a note on this property that had a balloon payment on it. He paid off the first note, great pay history, and then the seller actually financed the original balloon payment that was on the original note. So this note is the balloon payment that's financed on the original note, which is even better because this guy's not going anywhere. That's just one example. I've got 4 or 5 here we can run through.
Let's go through another one. But that one you just gave us, was that what that one is executed with a partner already? Is that what I'm understanding?
These 5 that I put together are ones that are currently available.
Okay. And then is there any chance you can speak to one that you have already in play? I know you just bought, even if you're not finished with it, I think you got one in Chester or something, but tell them about one of the ones you actually just took down so they can see that people actually will do this.
Yep. Yeah, there's one, I don't have anything put together, but I can just go over real quick. One in South Carolina, in Chester, South Carolina, which is down by Columbia. This one is one that I'm working with. It's actually a husband and wife duo, and they both have money in a solo self-directed IRA that they're combining to partner with me on this property. So we're going to be taking this down. It's a lease option on a property. It's got like 11 or 12 payments left on it. So we're gonna buy this. I'm going to use their money on it from their self-directed IRA, and we're going to collect the next 11, 12 payments on this property. And then at that time, the current borrower that's in the property is either going to have the right to exercise and purchase the property, or they're going to just basically turn into a tenant at that point. So if they do exercise it, that's great. It's a solid base hit. We're going to make probably 8-9% on it. If they don't exercise it, I think we're buying this one at I think it's like $60,000, and the property itself is worth $215, $220, something in there. Yeah, so this was a really good deal. If the borrower doesn't exercise the option, it's a home run all day. We're gonna make $100 and something thousand off that will work out really well for everybody. If he does exercise it, it's great. He's earned that right. He's paid his rent for the last 7 years, and he deserves that. And hopefully he does. It's a solid investment for us. 8 to 9% return backed by the real estate. Everybody's happy. So that's just an example. And this husband and wife duo, they're also in the community here. So we got hooked up through Jasmine, and this was a big benefit of being part of this community. It's one of my first partners I had actually is a member of our community as well, and it's just awesome to have the ability to rely on these people that are familiar with notes and know what they're doing. And when I was first getting started, to be able to partner with them was huge.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know everything, and I had a lot of questions, and to be able to rely on them is awesome.
And can I just speak to that? I will tell you that this is very important to me. The older I get, the more I realize what I have built here. So I'm gonna get a little personal with you guys, but hey, this is what happens when you join my meetings, right? I get older and I look back and I say, what I built in the community is everything I wanted out of my family, right? And so not only do the members of these groups have invested with me over 10 years, and we, they're nicer to me, honestly, more gracious to me than sometimes my family are. But with that said, being able to come here, I understand that some of you guys will go home and talk to people about getting in notes, and they will discourage you. You will not be encouraged. No one will give you any money. That's what this community is. This is a community where you can get your first note, and your first people trust you to go ahead and use OPM, right? And get your legs together before you go out and deal with all that rejection. You have a place where people want, and they are really encouraged and are encouraging you. So that is a priceless thing that I got to tell you that's here, because again, a lot of you guys are concerned about, well, where am I going to find the money? Where am I going to find all this? Everything is here in this community. Just got to call me up and I'll show you how to use it. But it's all here. And I built it that way on purpose, because now I look back, that's literally where I was, right? I grew up. I'm a girl from the Bronx. I don't have a lot of people who can turn around and want to give me money for an idea, right? And so now I've built that community. So please take advantage of it. And yes, the people that he's joint ventured with, great people, right? They run their own business. So they're happy to give Josh. They trust Josh. They know that he has me in the background. Let him do the work. You take my IRA money. So just know that there will be people who will be able and willing to joint venture with you. Thank you.
All right. So this is another one that I have. It's on a townhouse here in Virginia, right outside of Virginia Beach, up by Norfolk, by the Navy base up there. But this one is one I bought. I've had this one for, I don't know, a while now. This guy is he lives there by himself. He just pays his rent and goes about his business. But this one is almost $55,000 for the next 12 years. Monthly payment to the investor $591. So you put in 55, you're gonna get 85 back. So you're gonna make 30 grand, which is 8% return on that. This collateral, like I said, it's under this house, performing. He's been in there since 2012. So this guy's got plenty of equity in this house. The underlying asset, this one's at 9%. I think I got it. This one at a pretty good discount. So my return on this is a little bit higher. This one still 146 payments left, $621 a month. He's got a solid equity in there. I think when I bought this, the house was maybe worth like 110, 120, and now it's up way more than that. So he's got a solid pay history. good equity. Guy's not going anywhere. It's just, these are all just, they're solid notes. People have been in there. If you look at this property now, I actually drove by this one when I was out driving around, which, you know, I think actually this was my first one I bought, I think, Chaz.
Yeah. I remember you sent me a picture of you in front of it, and I was like,
Yes,
this rascal.
I remember. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, you're excited. You know, I wanted to go check it out, and I was going on vacation and to drive close to it, so I went and checked it out. But these next three are all out in Oklahoma right now.
And real quickly, the one that he talked about in Chester a moment ago, again, because I sold that note to the investor who sold it to him, I'm very familiar with this borrower, and from what I gather, this borrower does not, I repeat, does not have the ability to exercise that option. And so he just told you if he does exercise, they're going to make a 9%. If he doesn't, then sky's the limit, right? And so when I called him, like, I'm giving you transparency on everything I know. This guy already told us he can't, and that's why the first investor sold it. They were expecting him to exercise the option, and they didn't want to do any work. And so once they found out that they could not exercise it, they're like, Jasmine, we want to get this sold. Okay, and so they made close to 60-70% on their money. They didn't want to do any more work. I said, aha, I know somebody who likes to do a little bit of work and will make everybody, you know, won't do any harm to anybody. So called up Josh, and he slam dunked it. So just know that that's what this is about. Not everybody wants to do everything, and so that's why he's getting this at a discount. Thank you, Josh.
Yep. Yeah, and the other one I recently bought too is up in North Carolina, kind of by Boone, North Carolina. It's a little ski town, little mountain town. It's expired lease option. The guy's in there. He's been in there for a while. He's paying like $400 a month. I gave him the option to buy the house. You know, he can't really swing it. He's on a fixed income. So I'm actually working with him and my attorney, and we're going to find him a new place to live. And I'm going to help him out with the rent for a couple months and moving expenses to get him in a new place. And then I'll have the house back. And I think I paid $40,000 for it, something like that. And the house is, my realtor has told me she can get $150 for it. So that's just one of those deals where they come along and take advantage of them, but you got to be able to hop on it when you can, you know.
Amazing. And nice way to treat the guy, right? He knows he can't afford it, so he's adding, you know, maybe $3,000 to the expenses to make sure he gets out very nicely, comfortable landing. So not everybody does that, and that's again why I want to hand it to people like Josh. Now, are there people in my community who will just take the house? Yeah, so I get them the vacant houses, right? So yeah, no, this is important to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I find if you treat these people like people, and hey, I know you're in a spot, let me help you out, and they tend not to trash the property when they move out, and they're willing to meet you and give you the keys, and you know it's just a smoother transition for everybody and saves me money in the long run. These other ones here, these are 3 properties that I recently bought out in Oklahoma. NAP is a community. We've been focusing in Oklahoma and Arkansas now too, but there's a ton going around in Oklahoma, and I got a friend out there that's in the oil industry, and I kind of ran these by him, and he's like, yeah, if you can buy anything in Oklahoma right now, buy it. So
nice. You didn't share that with me. All right, I know I'm in the right place. Thank you, Josh.
Yep. Yeah, these next 3 are all 3 that I bought out in Oklahoma. All transferred over to me. Been getting payments on them the last few months, and these ones are fresh. I haven't sent these out to anybody. You guys were the first ones seeing these ones today, but these 3 are ones that are available. This one's just shy of 29 grand and 77 months. And all these too, like if you get somebody that comes to you and says, oh, I only got 25 grand. All right. So you just adjust the amount of months to fit the return. And if it's all right, if it's 70 months, well, it's 70 months and it's 25 grand. I've got a calculator that I plug all this information into, and it spits out the numbers for me. So you can kind of tailor every deal to each situation if you need to. These aren't set in stone, but at these current numbers, it's 29,000 for 77 months. The payment's going to be 480, and you're going to get just shy of 37,000 back. This one is, it's performing note. The guy's been there since 2018, so he's got 7 years of pay history there. UPB just under 29. This property is $145,000. So through ITV, you're looking at just shy of 20%. So you're fully secured. Even the market tanks and it drops 50%, and you still got a 30% spread there you're looking at. So there's plenty of equity there for this guy's in 116 grand of equity. So these people aren't going anywhere. They're gonna play this deal out. They're gonna pay it off for the next whatever he's got left here. 510, 77 months. Yeah, I mean, all these ones. This one here, 10 acres out in Oklahoma. It's got a house on it. This one's
that's one you own right now with 10 acres.
Yep.
Yeah. Damn, Josh.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I dish a lot of these out because I get so many. I mean, this was a 160 trade, and if I could have kept most of these for myself, I probably would have, but I obviously couldn't. And I'm happy to get them to my friends in the community. But I mean, this is a damn steal. 10 acres. If this guy messes up, this is what he forecloses on. He can sub-partial that out to more properties. So if you're looking at this and you were around for the last 2 years and watched the rest of us buy these Oklahoma notes, and you were wondering what we're going to do and if we're going to get caught up in a mess and will we regret our buy, you're seeing what's happening right now. I just posted this morning about Aliana and Larry getting their first payoff. Okay, Josh just ran around collecting these, and now you see what he's doing with them. He's been collecting payments on them, and now he's going to go out and get his money back and still collect payments, right? So when I tell you, there's a reason we're doing this. You just have to figure it out. That's why I keep having these meetings, making them public, because when that light bulb goes off, that's when you get involved. Otherwise, if you've been on the sidelines for 10 years with this community, which you could have been, and a lot of you guys have been, this is time after time what you're missing, right? And I don't see any stress in Josh's face. When you get off this call, you're going to be talking to a lot of people who are stressed out right now because of things that are going on politically and the things that are going on out there financially in the world. None of us, look at Josh's face. That's the look I have too. Okay. None of us are stressed out about that. None of us. We don't even know what's going on out there as far as I can tell. So I want you to understand that this is also about insulating and caring for yourself so you don't have to be out there in the streets. So anyway, I'm excited as always. So that was another 2 cents. Thank you.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you this one's 10 acres and it's got a house on it. So say something happened and they end up getting 10 acres back. You could build 5 houses on there if you wanted to and owner finance all of them. That one I am going through the process right now in North Carolina. It's just under 5 acres. And I'm hoping to split that property in half, keep the house on the 2 acres.
That's crazy.
And sell that house and keep the other 2-3 acres and build a house on there and sell that. So there's options with these. It depends how involved you want to get after the note is yours, and how it plays out. You got to be flexible, I guess, is what I'm saying, because there's multiple different ways to exit every single one of these. But it just depends on the situation. But this one's another one, solid, say 22,000. You're getting $528 a month. You're gonna get 25,384 for the next 4 years. This one is on this property in Oklahoma. He's been there for the last 12 years. And this property, it's 175,000. So he's got 150 grand equity in this property. They're not going anywhere. It's 10 acres with a house on it. Solid. Same with this one. This one's out in Oklahoma as well. This one's much cheaper, $15,000 for the next 4 years. You're going to get just shy of $400 a month. This guy's got.
All right, so let's ask if there's any questions out there. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I think if you're anything like me, you're getting the picture, you're picking up the system, the rhyme, the reason. So let's get into some questions. I'm sure you have to have some out there, so feel free to take yourself off and find out. I don't think there's any question off the books.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, this is Aliana. So where are you finding the people to market to? Is it RIA events, or are you going to, how are you marketing?
Honestly, I don't really market. It's friends, family, golf course, people I randomly meet. I do go to my local RIA. To be honest with you, I haven't really tried to, I don't want to say sell. I haven't marketed these to anybody there. I find my local RIA, it's the 20-80 rule, right? Like 80% of the people there aren't doing anything. They're just showing up because they want to be involved in something. And the other 20% of the people already have things they're working on. So for me, it's people want to work with people they like. So for me, I spend a lot of my time at the golf course. So I see these people, 4 or 5 times a week, and that's how I form these relationships. I don't market to people. People know I've been in real estate for the last 20 years. So my friends and my family, if they have questions and they want anything to know about real estate, they call me, and they know that these are available. And I've worked with a lot of people like that.
Hey Josh, share your website though for them so they can see it.
Yeah. So I'll put
what
it in
I
the
want to
chat.
say real quickly, share your screen if you don't mind, so they can see it together.
Oh, okay.
If that's something you don't mind doing, and then put it in the chat. But what I want you to know, like just a more direct answer to that question is, he doesn't put much into marketing. It's more about his credibility and his experience. However, he does the same thing that I do, right? This is a lifestyle. So this is why I want you guys to kind of see what we do. When I was looking through, I got a referral the other day from someone, and I was like, oh, look at this guy. And I met him on a plane, 2019. Okay? And so if you're that person who's energetic, who's out there, who's a social person, then just get outside. You're going to start seeing me do this a lot more this year. When I'm outside, I make money. 90% of the people I met, I was outside somewhere. So he specifically, when I talked to him about his business model, was to be golfing more, find himself golfing more, right? I don't see it. Did you put it on the screen yet, Josh, your website?
Right now.
Okay.
That pop up?
So wherever you go that you socialize best is where I say go. But make sure you use my $20 fry rule. So if you don't know my $20 fry rule, I'm about to tell you. If you do, then don't start laughing at me, because it's just me. But all my friends know, this is why I don't go out too much, not to call me unless they go into a restaurant that sells $20 fries. And they say, why? You're such an asshole, Jasmine. I say, because don't call me to go hang out at Applebee's. Okay? I'm not about that life. Okay? If I'm going to turn around and talk to somebody, I don't want to talk to somebody who's paying for Applebee's bill. If I turn around and talk to someone, to take the same amount of effort to talk to someone at a fancy restaurant that's paying $20 fries. So with that said, think about $20 fries, get out there and network. I see a real question in there from Trisha, so I want to let you get to that. But the networking part, he's got his website up there. People know. And one of the best things he told me is that someone will come up to him and ask him, how the hell are you doing? How are you at the golf course all the time? What do you do to make yourself to be able to golf? Why you don't have a job? So that's how this starts, right? Isn't that right, Josh?
Yeah, it is. Yep. People wonder why you're at the golf course every day. And it's like, a lot of guys I golf with are older guys that are all retired. So it works out.
And then they look at this young buck. They're like, what are you doing here? How'd you figure this out? And he's like, passive notes. You want to come and check out my website? You want to come and talk about hypothecation? And so I think I talked to you earlier, Aliana, about something I would call the takeaway, right? So in a nutshell, that's all he's doing. It's he's people looking at him and going, what are you doing? And he's like, well, if you want to know, you have to come follow me.
Yeah. Yeah, Trisha, you asked if the note becomes underperforming during the hypothecation period, do you have the ability to step in and assist? I do. All these notes, I work with a third-party servicer that manages my portfolio. So if for some reason somebody missed a payment, or they stopped paying, or they're going through a divorce, or whatever happens, somebody passed away, life happens. Sometimes these things come up. The way it works with me with my hypothecation partners is, even if these guys stop paying, I continue to pay every month. I've got a portfolio of these, so 5, 6 of them stop paying. It's not a big deal. The cash flow is there from everything else to continue to pay, while I work behind the scenes with my servicer to get them back on track. Worst case scenario, they stop paying and I have to go through foreclosure process or whatever I have to do on the back end. We can always, you have 2 options. You can keep that loan in there, the hypothecated loan there, and let the interest accrue until I go through the process and work through whatever I need to do on the back end to get that property back or get that back on track. Or we could always swap out assets and have your loan to me collateralized by a different note that I have in my portfolio. Not a big deal. It happens sometimes, but with these ones that I have, I vet these out really good, so they're all solid performing. If something happened, it may be they missed a month and then next month they pay twice or something like that. So it's not a big deal usually. Andre asks, are all your hypothecated loans in first position? They are. I only buy first position loans. I don't buy any wrap loans, sub 2, anything like that. They're out there. I have seen them. If that did happen, I would consider buying a sub 2 only if the underlying loan is paid off. But all of the loans in my portfolio are first position. Rhonda asks you to share how many loans you have at one time. I try to keep all of my loans hypothecated and my money working for me. So right now I have 5 that are available. So as soon as those 5 are, one of them gets hypothecated, I'll go and look for more notes. So I try to keep that money turning so I can continue to grow my portfolio and obviously work with more private capital partners to get them invested in real estate and put their money to work for them as well. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines right now, just waiting for somewhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, just to that point, if you show up to any of my presentations, especially this year, I'm going to be harping on that a lot. But when I tell you to the point of trillions of dollars, people have taken the money out of the stock market and they're looking for alternative investments, and rightfully so, right? Right now, they've told us that to be prepared, right? And we just watched Silicon Valley just get wiped out by a Chinese company. That is just the beginning. If we're in denial about who's winning this race, you don't have to be in denial with them, right? So if you want to get on the sidelines, a lot of people are doing it just to get out of the way while all this settles, and they need a place to grow. And one thing they're familiar with is real estate. So the whole thing about this is a mental, I always tell people, this is a mind game, right? Not drawn. It's not about muscles. It's about your mind. And so it's not for everyone. You might sit in front of someone and their eyes gloss over. Again, turn into a social event, buy them a drink, and then get up and leave. But if you talk to someone and you see a light bulb, physical light bulb go over their head, you will see it, right? You will see their face light up. That means they're getting the math. And now you just need to slowly, warm them up and start explaining to them, because as you see, there's a lot to be worried about, a lot to be feared, right? But Josh will tell you how he's going to handle that. So now that this is risk-free, he's like, but if something happens, I'm going to take care of it. And so that's what people are looking to hear in order to move forward with you. What other questions do we have in the last 5 or 10 minutes? Let's get them some more questions. So this is great. And if you don't have questions, then please let them know how awesome this presentation was.
Well, I jumped on late, but what I heard was really awesome. I've been looking for this. Nobody offers this kind of stuff that I found. Everyone always just wants, the standard notes. So this is really awesome. I really love this concept. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'll be reading.
Thank you.
And it allows people to, people getting started in notes, they don't necessarily want to go and spend $200,000 on a note. Where, the hypothecation model allows them to come in with 20, 30, 40, 50 grand and get their feet wet, see what it's like. Send an investor some money and start receiving those monthly payments, and it becomes real, and it's a good feeling.
100%. And also, I'll say this even though it's not in my best interest, for those of you who, again, are like, I don't want to sign up for another training program. I don't want to learn anything. Great. Okay, look at Josh. This is the most honest man you're going to find in my community. I'll tell you that right now. So this is the type of guy you want to get started with. And then, like you said, once you see it working, maybe you'll be more interested in getting education. Maybe you won't. So I definitely encourage you to check out and consider working with Josh, whether you are part of the community or not. Because, yeah, these are price points that all of us can really entertain, especially since we haven't had, most of us have had jobs in the past. So you might have an IRA you can roll over to take advantage of this. There's another question there for you. And feel free to take yourself off the mic and talk, please.
Yeah, Andre, thanks for the question. Yes, do you disperse payment to your investors, or does your servicing company? I personally set up direct deposit to my investors, whether they want it monthly or quarterly. That's an open discussion. Either way, it's fine with me. But yeah, I send that directly. And for those who aren't familiar, when you have a servicer, all of these borrowers are going directly through the servicer. I don't ever actually talk to the borrowers. The servicer collects the payments, they answer the phone calls, they do all that work, and then at the end of the month they send me the the payments, and they send me reports of everything and any notes of any conversations that I've had, so I can kind of keep up on that. And each servicer has their online portal, so I can sign in and see all those details every day. But yeah, those payments come from the servicer to me, and then from me to my investors.
Very, very helpful. All right, so I know you've gotten some fans already from this, so let's give them one more opportunity to get your contact information. I don't know if you have a preferred phone number or a way for them to contact you.
Yep. I'll put in the chat early. I'll copy it in here. You guys, anybody, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Phone, email, whatever's easier for you. And yeah, if you have any questions, give me a shout. Thanks.
And I do think Usama was able to record this. Go ahead. You have a question. Go ahead, say it, please.
No, I was just saying thank you. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but it's been very, very informative. I did a couple partials several years ago, and I want to run some of the performance by you, Josh, and get back in this part.
Yeah, sounds great. Give me a call. Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you.
Wonderful. What was I saying? I was just going to say, yeah, Josh is 100% approachable, as you haven't picked it up from this, and we were able to record it, I believe. That's what that red dot on the top is. So thank you for that, Osama. And we will get this out there. It'll be on our YouTube site. And lastly, there have been a lot of changes. I was hoping to kind of go over that today, but Josh had plenty to talk about, so I didn't want to impede on his time. But we have a lot of new opportunities for you guys to join us. We have a Naked Notes Pod Squad. If you see an invite to that, join it, because this is a new way where you can join the community for free. You won't have access to all the things, but you will definitely be able to see all the meetings and come into our back-end community. We have a private community. So there's a Naked Notes Pod Squad. It's free. If you're interested in joining, you will get a text message about it, or you can just reach out to us and we'll get you signed up for it. I want to thank you guys all for your time today. We're wrapping up the hour here. And so, yeah, we look forward to seeing you next month. We have Coffee and Notes is our next meeting. It's first Saturday of the month. So we're all going to just hang out and talk shop about our notes. It'll be really casual. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
Thank you very much.